Our next speaker is a leader who has enchanted the e-commerce world in Sweden by his fascinating qualities and by being able to listen and implement changes. Please welcome Dinesh Nayar, CEO and founder of Fyndiq.
You want to hug me?
I want to hug you. Of course.
Okay, we can hug. That's
good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so Dinesh, before you get started, I told you I was going to ask you a question that was unfiltered, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you promised to give me an unfiltered answer, right?
It's coming up.
You hear the promise? So, how do you feel about Nosta winning the pitch?
Good question. You know,
take a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna. No, but we at Fyndiq, we hate losing. So it was really a tough evening for us last night, and so tough for some of us that they needed to go all the way to Copenhagen to carry on drinking.
I heard that.
I know.
With two cars. We want to hear more about how you're building your team. So the stage is yours.
Thank you,
Dinesh.
So all of you heard Fredrik's fantastic pitch yesterday about Fyndiq, and I voted for him. So I thought I'll go more into not explaining so much about what Fyndiq is, more in terms of what we do and the thinking behind scaling our company. We have gone from 0 to about a turnover of 200 million in less than 4 years. And from our perspective, where we stand today, this is just the beginning. So scaling this quickly, there's a lot of demand on how we can achieve this in a good and healthy way. Since we have the ambition of keeping a 3-digit percentage in our road forward. This is the universe of where we exist, aligned with merchants in here and out throughout Sweden, giving the consumers of Sweden a bargain superstore. A snapshot of where we stand today. On a daily basis right now, our merchants sell about 9,000 products on a daily basis through Fyndiq's platform. We have a 100% growth rate, and this is something that we are aiming for moving on as well forward, with the challenges that comes with that. A milestone that was really important for us from the founding perspective, for the team, and also for our investors was that at the volumes that we're running now, we're actually profitable. And this is good to have in the backbone now moving forward, because for us it's proven that our model works, the way that we're doing things actually work, and there's a demand from our both customers out there to have Fyndiq as a platform and a sales channel and a department store. But in our world, it's all about volume and growth. So this is the focus, to quickly scale and generate even more sales. We're a team of about 70 Fyndians today, divided up in about 10 different departments. Like said from the speakers yesterday, Rainer and also Olander, we believe that it's super important to keep as much of the functionality in-house. We do use consultants in some aspects, but when it comes to running quickly and owning the thing that you need to do we believe that it's super important that we have it in-house, so that the fantastic people at Fyndiq, the 70 Fyndians specialized in all their different aspects, can do what they do best and run quickly forward. So the departments that we have is engineering, building the platform, merchants relations, customer relations, finance, legal, and so forth. One of the smartest things I think we, from a founder's perspective, did at the early stage was actually how we organized the three of us. And that's what you see in the lower bottom here the tree structure. We identified our 3 core flows and divided it up between the 3 of us, where Mickey, our CTO, is in charge of the product, our platform. And on the other side, we have Frederick, who you saw yesterday, in charge of our business, basically driving traffic, conversion, and getting as much sales as possible for all the merchants. And in between there, we have me in charge of the company, the organization, and the moving forward and operations for that. And why I think that this is super important is because it has allowed the 3 of us to have ownership over our own thing and also the space to move, so that the 3 of us can move really quickly forward without interference. And I think that's one of the reasons that we have actually grown as much as we have done during these years. So I'm going to get into the thinking that we have in scaling organization and team and empowering them. But I want to go backtrack a bit from my own background to put it more into perspective. Sometimes they say that a picture can say more than 1,000 words. I don't know if this picture says 1,000 words, but it says many words, I think. I'm not the beautiful person in the middle. That's my sister. I'm the guy to your right, over there. This is a few years back at my restaurant that I had at the moment, at the time. This is just a normal day. Maybe I've been working a 17-hour shift. I look super fresh, super energized, super happy. Or maybe something else. A small stomach also going there. This is the life at the restaurant. And why I've chosen to show this picture is because for me it symbolizes a bit of where I come from and also the thinking behind scaling. For me, a restaurant, and I think this could be implemented in other lines of businesses as well. But for me, a little restaurant, being an entrepreneur, there shows the difficulties in scaling, because a restaurant only makes money when it's open, and it's dependent on many factors like the weather outside, if it's a world championship going on, if you have staffs at place, the quality of your chefs, since I'm not a chef myself. And I struggled with it because I really didn't get it to work in the sense of building a solid business, because that's why I looked like that. But then leaving the restaurant business, I also reflected over the thing that I think it's not just restaurants that is difficult to scale. I think I was one of the main reasons for why it didn't scale in the way I thought. And that was my qualities as a leader, as the boss of the restaurant, and the thinking I had at that time. So I've listed a few problems with scaling, and the single most important thing I believe in a healthy organization is trust. Without trust, there's not much one can do. And maybe you can relate to it, maybe not. But from where I come from, this is the single most important thing. At the restaurant at that time, I didn't give trust. I didn't have trust. I was everywhere, micromanaging, testing the sauces, even though I'm not a cook. I was all over the place. And the problem with that was that when I was not in the restaurant, maybe trying to have an off day or something, I had not built up a trust and a confidence in the team. So they were also not feeling at ease. The second thing is information or communication. Maybe in the world where I came from and the picture I had of restaurants with fast-moving, high turnover of staffs, young people, I didn't have the communication going on in my company at that time was a one-way communication. I would tell people what to do and expected them to do it. And I don't think that's healthy as well. After doing a 17-hour shift for 7 days in a row, I used to come home and say, oh, I just wish I could clone myself. I thought I was the best at single thing. I was the specialist, and that's the feeling I had. And I think that's kind of dangerous. When you build a team around that in the way we were working at that point, it's difficult for a leader then, or the CEO or the business owner or the entrepreneur, to actually get the perspective that you need sometimes. Because you're running there, you're on the floor, into the details, and you lose perspective of stuff. I felt many times maybe that I should have taken a step back to see what's going on, what's the competitors doing, why are these people not happy, why are the consumers not coming, and those kind of things. So doing the right thing and focusing is another problem that I feel one has when scaling a team, an organization. And the last thing, maybe not in a small entrepreneurial company, but what I see in other companies is politics. One tends to grow quickly, and the individual's self-optimization of making sure I have it good becomes bigger and larger than the team or the company's goal. And that becomes really a dangerous road to go forward to. When I met my co-founders back in 2009, and we started building Fyndiq, the fascinating part from my point of view was when we got to do this work was that we were building a platform that could scale beautifully. And we were also building a business model that would scale beautifully. And if we would do this, which meant that we could have operations running 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, we also needed to build an organization that could scale. And scaling for me doesn't mean volume of people, throwing people at the problem or becoming thousands of people. That's not scaling, that's just a lot of people. Scaling for me means having a self-educational team that does smart things in the right way. So we've been doing Fyndiq now for building the company for 4 years. And what we have, or 1,543 days, roughly. What we set from the beginning is these 3 or 4 core parts in the thinking and the philosophy. And it's not something that we have made up right now. It's something that we actually have been building on. It's just on a later stage that we started to put words into it. Empowerment, speed, and getting outside your comfort zone. These are the core parts in the culture and the thinking that we have at Fyndiq. We're far away from perfect or far away from have figured things out. But this is the thinking that we have in trying to do what we do best and running forward. The Warm Little Red is actually a physical booklet that we have produced within the team. It's a small little homage to Jan Carlson, who Sarah presented earlier, who is a business angel with us from the start, and who in the 80s, when he revolutionized the flight industry, did that by giving out the booklet Den Lilla Röda to the 35,000 employees at SAS. So we've done something similar, not to compete with him in any way, but I think it's a good way to make something a thinking that you have, because many times it can be big words on a wall somewhere that no one can relate to. A physical little booklet actually makes it more concrete. And this book gives an insight to the way we think at Fyndiq. For now, when we're scaling with 1 to 2 new people a week coming into Fyndiq, it's important that they'll get to understand how we do stuff, how we look upon stuff, how we approach stuff. I'm actually going to give you an insight to 3 slides of the booklet, talking about the 4 parts of empowerment, speed, and comfort zone. and focus. We ranked now as one of the fastest growing tech companies in Europe. And when we run at the speed that we do, I think it's crucial that each individual at Fyndiq, who are there because they are the best at what they do, also gets the right information and also the feeling of that they have the responsibility to build this company. Because they are out there, if you remember the picture of the tree, the team is out there in the branches. They are the ones gathering all the information, having the feeling of what we need to do and how we should do it. I'm not the one anymore sitting and handling 300 customer support issues a day. I'm not the engineering building. So we need to build a culture where the information is brought back from each and everyone into the company so that we can iterate from that. So this is one of the main things around empowerment. The other thing is that the road to perfection is not straight. We need to run, and test and iterate. Today, the engineering team at Fyndiq does up to 7 deployments a day of new functionalities and new things on site and into the platform. I think one of the record that we have is from idea from the marketing department to actually implementation on site is 20 minutes. And this is essential if we're going to scale and run fast, because this helps us also be innovative in a real way. So we don't have deployment circles or processes for 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 years. We can be quick at stuff and iterate from that and test things and move back. And for that, we believe that it's more important to actually build a culture where it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission, because that scales much nicer and it's more fun. Comfort zone. Well, if I, as an individual, can grow, put myself out there, and develop, I think that's where true innovation comes. And if we can push that so that we have that in the way of thinking, then we can actually build a much more interesting working environment. To our help with this, we have a tool and a way of thinking called OKR. It's nothing that we have invented. It's not something that Google invented, but they, like many other companies, started working with it, have been working with it for a long while. Google implemented OKR, which stands for Objective and Key Results, when they were an organization of about 20 people. And today, I think Google employs 58,000 people worldwide. What it means, OKR, is that it gives the company, the team, and the individual a possibility to concretely communicate the focus for the whole company. It gives me, as the CEO of the company, a good way to concretely talk about which way we're heading. More concretely, it means that on a yearly and a quarterly basis, we define what the company's goals are, the focus that we're working on. With that information, the 10 different departments go back and start workshopping within the teams of how can my department now in best way help out to align and help the company reach its goals. And when the team has identified that and set that, then the individual at Fyndiq, in material of the position he or she has, or the department he or she is working in, together with its department head, works out what is it that I can best do to help my department or my team reach the company's goal. We don't know how this will work. We've been working for it for a while, for a few months, but for what we're seeing so far, we think it's really exciting and fantastic. So with this thinking, we actually have built now also a scalable organization, which is moving in a super high tempo, running, testing stuff, iterating, and deploying stuff. What this means from my perspective then, and my co-founder's perspective, is that where do we fit into the picture here? I think the next slide, if you remember me being in the restaurant, next slide will symbolizes the thinking or the vision or the mantra that I have for myself in the role that I have as a CEO. I don't know if you know him. It's Magnus Carlsen, a young Norwegian guy that's the world champion in chess. Well, I'm not comparing myself now with him and saying that I'm as intelligent as he is, because I'm definitely not. But what a great chess player for me symbolizes is the capacity of actually knowing his or her own and his opponent's next move. And not only the next move, maybe up to 20, 40 moves in what I will do and my competitor is doing. And this is a bit of a visualization of how I see my role at Fyndiq and my co-founders' roles at Fyndiq. If we have a team that's empowered and running quickly forward, then we can better guide the whole organization, the business, and what we do in a more solid and interesting way. And why is this interesting or important? Well, the thinking that we have is that if we can deliver about 9,000 products or help you merchants sell 9,000 products per day right now, why not help you sell 90,000 products a day or 900,000 products a day? This is our vision statement that we have internally, and this is the journey that we are building the company towards. Thank you very much.
So unfortunately, we really would love to know what you guys are saying on Twitter, but we don't have time. So we're going to say thank you so much, Dinesh, and maybe when you go backstage, you can answer the questions on Twitter, if there are any.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Sure.
OK. Thank you so much, Dinesh.
Thank you.
And good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.